Shuklam Bharadharam Vishnum Shashivarnam Chaturbhujam Prasanavadanam Dhyayet Sarva Vignopashantaye. Om. Dear friends, welcome to the study of Geeta. We are seeing this shloka Chaturvarnyam Maya Srushtam Guna Karma Vibhagashaha. And in the last 4 or 5 sessions, let us say 4 or 5 days rather, we have been seeing only these two words, that is Chaturvarnyam is one, Guna Karma Vibhagasha. Only these two we have been seeing. And we have seen how this Guna is different from what we say Varna is different from what we call as caste. And then again, Maya Srushtam, we have to see this particular word called Maya Srushtam. Maya Srushtam means what? That is created by me. Then created by me means what does it say? Maya. Maya means what? By me. And who is saying? Krishna is saying. Is he saying that it is Krishna who has enforced all these things? It is not Krishna. It is not Krishna who has enforced all this. You know, in the entire Gita, whenever we see this word Maya, this word I does not refer to Lord Krishna. It does not refer to Krishna who is the son of Vasudeva. It refers to the Supreme Brahma or Supreme Reality. And that Supreme Reality, because it is something which is of the nature of pure Chit, Chaitanya, pure Chaitanyam, it cannot speak. And Krishna is a manifestation of that Chaitanya. Krishna is a very glorious manifestation, which is an avatar of that particular Chaitanya. And as a mouthpiece, as a person on behalf of that Shuddha Chaitanya, on behalf of that Supreme Brahman, he is speaking now. And he is saying Maya Srushtam. And what is this Srushti also? And Vedanta says, in fact, I have told even earlier on several occasions, that Vedanta says that this Chaitanyam alone has manifested as this world. And this Chaitanyam has ability to manifest. And that ability to manifest is otherwise called, there is a technical word which is called Maya. And Maya, we should not think that it is all illusion. It is all illusion or something which is totally somewhat like a magician's wand, or not like that. Something which is inexpressible, something which cannot be totally ignored, which cannot be taken as absolute truth. Maya is something which is not totally unreal, and which is not totally taken as, it cannot be taken as absolute truth. So that is what is Maya. So here Maya Sushtam means that particular Maya Shakti, which is said to be there in that Supreme Chaitanyam, that is manifesting as Maya, as the whole universe. And in that nature, what we call Prakriti or Maya, there are three essential constituents which are called the three gunas. And these three gunas we cannot ignore. They are already there. So in that sense, Krishna is saying Maya Srushtam, because it is there in the nature. You are accepting what is actually there. It is not as though Lord Krishna has created it or anything like that. It is something which is, it is already there. Guna karma vibhagashaha. And then, tasya kartaram apimam vidya kartaram avyayam. Then who is the karta? Tasya kartaram apimam. Though I am responsible for its creation, I am indeed a karta. Akarta means non-doer. On one hand he is saying I am karta, and again immediately he is saying I am not the doer. Then who is the karta? Who is the karta means that what we call that expressive, that manifesting power which is called Maya, that is what is called the karta. Because when we say a karta is anybody who is a limited entity. Suppose I am doing something. When I want to do something, I need some sphere of action. I need some sphere of action. I want to do something. I want to achieve something. I have an agenda. So I become a limited person. I become a limited person in order to execute a particular work in a particular environment. When you are talking about that infinity, when you are talking about that Ananta Chaitanyam, in that supreme thing which is called infinity, in that infinity there cannot be any action, because there is nothing beyond infinity. If there is a karta is a person who is having some limbs, some sort of sadhana, some means and some activity, some sort of task ahead of him, some goals ahead of him. So this is what is a karta. So but in that infinity there is no such thing. So but then all these things, they are existing. All these things like the universe, etc., it is existing. All these human beings are existing. Human beings of different kinds are existing. All these psychological types means, like we said, these 4 varnas. The 4 varnas are the 4 psychological types. These psychological types, they are also existing. Then how to account for it? So from an ordinary man's point of view, From an ordinary devotee's point of view, the Vedanta says, yes, there is somebody called a creator. From an ordinary man's devotee's point of view, otherwise the devotee will get confused. Devotee, if he says that the supreme being or supreme reality is actually a karta, it has nothing to do with this whole, the creation of the whole universe. So this statement that supreme reality has nothing to do with this creation, it is really akarta. It is for a higher level person. So from the point of view of an ordinary man, from an ordinary devotee, Krishna is saying, yes, I am the karta. From the point of view of a thinking person, from the point of view of somebody who is at a higher level, who is questioning, yes, how can you be karta? You are asanga, chid, rupa, etc., somebody says. Oh, then Krishna says, yes, now you are intelligent. Actually, I am akarta. So that is how we have to understand it. Tasya kartaram apimam. So that is what we call that supreme reality or Brahma is a karta from a relative point of view. This is a point we have to note down. He is karta from a relative point of view, but not from absolute point of view. That relative point of view is for just a devotee. Otherwise, the devotee will be confused. The devotee will, in fact, all this thing is basically for social order. And not only for social order, yes, for a devotee, he is getting the result. It is not as though we are fooling the devotee. It is not as though Bhagavad Gita or Upanishads are fooling the devotee. They are not fooling the devotee. They are only saying, you visualize any form in that. You visualize a particular form. You call it Krishna, you call it Rama, you call it this, that, you call it Vishnu, Shiva, whatever it is. And you get the result. So when you are getting the result, there is no such thing as fooling a person. So it is a reality. There is no doubt from a devotee's point of view, it is a reality. From the point of view of a philosopher, from the point of view of somebody who is trying to know what is my real self. So it says, yes, you are not different from that supreme thing. It says. So Vedanta always talks at two levels. This is what I have always been saying. Vedanta tells something from the point of view of from a lower level, and at a higher level it speaks. We should not say that it is all double talk or anything like that, because any serious subject, it is explained to people in two levels, one for children and one for the mature people. So that is what Vedanta also is. So here, tasya kartaram apimam vidhi. Vidhi means, mam again is referring to Brahma. Vidhi, akartaram, avyayam. Avyayam is something which does not change, which does not decline at all. Vidhi, akartaram, avyayam. Because anything that declines is something which is a limited entity. Something which starts at a particular point of time, it also ends. Something which has got a beginning, it has also got an ending. And something which is limited, it again declines. But something which is infinite, there is no question of adding anything to infinity. There is no question of deleting anything from the infinity. So from that point of view, it is called avyaya. So vidhi akartaram avyayam. Then we come to the next shloka, where he is also saying, again he says, yes, he is explaining the same thing in a slightly different way. Namam karmani limpanti. This is the 14th shloka. We have discussed this 13th shloka for a long time. So now we are coming to the 14th shloka. 14th and 15th we will go faster. So namam karmani limpanti name karma phale spruha iti mam yo bhijanati karma bhirna sabadhyate. So namam karmani limpanti. Lepanam. Lepanam means, we know what is called pasting. Lepanam. Lepanam is something which sticks to you, something which taints us. That is what is lepanam. Or something I apply some paint or I apply some color, that is what is lepanam. Something I paint on my body, let us say. Something which taints me. So that is what is lepanam. So karma lepanam. Karma lepanam means what? Karma lepanam means, suppose I do some action, there is a result for that action. And that result I have to experience. So that is what is karma lepanam. And Krishna is saying, na mam karmani limpanti. This karma lepanam is not there in my case. That is, my case means, we are again seeing, like he said in the 13th, in the next shloka, he is going to, in the same shloka, he is going to say that the supreme reality is something which is not doing any karma. And when karma is not there, even for Lord Krishna is doing some karma. We know that Lord Krishna is representing that supreme reality. And Lord Krishna is doing so many karmas. Karma means, so okay, he is advising Arjuna, he is the charioteer of Arjuna, he has rescued Pandavas on several occasions. So he has done so many things. He has also, there are so many other miracles, etc., etc. So all these things, will they have any type of karma phala on him? So they will not have karma phala, because he is doing at a higher level. He is doing at the level of a jnani. He is going to say that he is aware. He is aware that he is doing. He is not the karta. He is not the karta. The body-mind complex is the karta. He is nothing but that supreme reality. He is in that level of awareness. So a person who is at that level of awareness, he is not the karta. So that applies to everybody, not only to Krishna, it applies to everybody. That is what he is saying in the second line. Namam karmani limpanti, name karma phale spruha. Karma phala means the result of the action. Name spruha means I don't have any desire. I don't have any desire in that karma phala. So desire is something which arises in the mind. So desire is something which is related to the mind. And when that Krishna is talking from the level of that Supreme Being, so for that Supreme Being, there is no such thing as desire. There is no such thing as a particular desire for itself, because desire arises only in a limited being. Desire arises in a limited being. I want to achieve something. Desire is not there in what is called infinity. So, Namaye karma phale spruha means he is at that level. He is talking at a different level. And the second line is very interesting. He says, Itimam yo abhijanati. So, a person who understands this, a person who understands my nature to be this, Itimam yo abhijanati means a person who understands my nature to be this. This means, so Krishna is somebody who is above, or Krishna means who is representing that Supreme Being. This is something which has it is not tainted by karma phala. It has no spruha. There is no such karma phala in that infinity. So a person who realizes, he is also a wise man, he is a jnani. A jnani, in fact, his body-mind complex may be limited, but he is identifying himself not with the body-mind complex. He becomes a akarta, he also becomes an akarta. He is identifying himself with that divine. So when he is identifying himself with that divine, then he is also not bound by karma. So long as when you are identifying yourself with the body-mind complex, you are bound by karma. When you are identifying with the divine, you are not bound by karma. In fact, this applies even for karma yoga. Even for karma yoga, of course, karma yoga, there, the karma yogi, we have seen that karma yogi is not an enlightened man, and not a fully enlightened man. He is only doing, without desire for karma phalam. I do not want karma phala, but I want to put myself in the shoe of the Lord. I want to be an instrument of the Lord. I want to do what all has been mandated as a sort of duty. As a sort of my duty, I am doing karma. I am doing karma for the welfare of others. So that is his state of mind. Whereas a jnani also is doing karma, but he is not having that kartrutva bhavana. Kartrutva bhavana means I am the karta, I am the doer. That notion is not there in a jnani. Whereas in a karma yogi, he has the notion, I am the doer, but I am doing it as an order from the Lord, as an order from the divine. Whereas this jnani is somebody who has no identification with the body-mind complex. He has identified himself with the divine. So when you are identifying yourself with the divine, you also will not have this karma phala. You will also not have the lepanam. Lepanam means you are also not tainted by the karma phala. You are not affected by the karma phala. Karma phalam is what? Karma phalam again taking a birth, again undergoing some pleasures, pains, etc., etc. That is karma phalam. Karma phalam is that eternally being in that cycle of birth and death. So a jnani is somebody who has freed himself from that cycle of birth and death. So that is what the second line is saying. Karma bhihi na sapadhyate. He is not bound by the karma. Means he is not getting that karma phala. He is liberated from that wheel of samsara, wheel of the transmigration. And next sloka, he is going to say that karma which is done by a jnani is not binding in nature. And that is the reason why all our ancients also performed karma. This is an important link to the next sloka. In this 14th sloka, what did he say? 14th sloka, he said that a person who is identifying himself with the body-mind complex, he is affected by the karma phala. And a person who is not identifying himself with the body-mind complex, he is not affected by the karma phala. That is what we have seen. And as a follow-up, he is saying, karma done by a jnani is not binding. And that is the reason why all our ancients means people like King Janaka and various other wise people, they also performed actions. They also performed actions. And therefore, follow our ancients. He is going to say, follow their example, and you do karma. So, why is Krishna saying all this? Krishna is saying all this. He is philosophizing, so much of philosophizing he is doing only to motivate Arjuna. If you decide to yourself whether you are at the level of a jnani or at a lower level. If you are at a lower level, you perform karma in order to purify your mind for chitta shuddhi. You do karma from the point of view of a karma yogi. This karma yoga again we should not forget, because again and again this comes, because the entire crux of Gita is karma yoga and jnani karma. A person is supposed to do karma. Gita is not saying you become a sannyasi, etc., etc. Sannyasa is there only at a higher level for some people. For some people who want to totally give up all these things, and then who want to guide, who again they don't want to guide the humanity also. They incidentally they guide the humanity. That's all. They become some sort of reference points for the entire society. So that is a different thing. So Gita does not say you give up action. You do action, but then do it in such a way that you are doing something which is beneficial to all the people. That is what is karma yoga. So here he says, Kuru karma yoga. Yeah, I will read the shloka. I will read the shloka and explain. The 15th shloka I am reading. Evam jnatva krutam karma purvairapi mumukshubhihi kuru karmaiva tasmatvam purvaih purvataram krutam. So he says, Evam jnatva means knowing in this manner, Evam means in this manner. In this manner means in what manner? Like what he said in the earlier shloka. Earlier shloka said, I am not the karta. So, naham karta, I am not the karta. So, the karta is something, only the body-mind complex may be the karta. But my real nature, who are you then? My real nature is, I am not different from that supreme. So, that is what is that awareness. He is stationed in that awareness. He is firmly stationed in that awareness. A jnani is firmly stationed in that awareness. So, evam jnatva, then krutam karma purvairapi mumukshubhihi karma krutam. That is, even the ancient people, all the ancient people, those who are jnanis and those who are also mumukshus. Mumukshu is a word. A person who has a desire for moksha is called a mumukshu. Mokshe ichha. The desire for liberation is what is called mumuksha. A person who has mumuksha is called mumukshu. That is, a person who is having desire for liberation is called a mumukshu. So, mumukshu he means by all the people who had a desire for liberation. By all the people who had desire for liberation, karma was done by them. So, you also do that. That is what Krishna is telling Arjuna. Evam jnatva krutam karma purvairapi mumukshubhihi. Purvaihi means like all the people. Here the commentator says purvaihi means Janaka, etc. All these. Not only Janaka, repeatedly I am mentioning the name Janaka because that is one character who is coming here in this text. So not only Janaka but King Rama, various other kings and various other people who are enlightened people who are also doing action. An enlightened man is not supposed to keep quiet. An enlightened man, he is also he can perform all activities, and when he is performing activities, he is not doing anything in a selfish manner. He is in a totally selfless person. In a selfless manner, he is performing karma. So that is what we see. So evam jnatva krutam karma purvairapi mumukshubhihi kuru karmaiva tasmatvam purvaih purvataram krutam. Kuru karmaiva. You do that karma. Purvaihi purvataram krutam. And here the option is, the commentators say, if you are in the plane of ignorance, if you are not an enlightened person, you do it for your chitta shuddhi. If you are at the level of karma yogi, you do it for your chitta shuddhi, that is purification of mind. And because when you are doing a karma without expecting the fruit of that, then that is actually leading to chitta shuddhi. And that is the first essential thing for liberation. Chitta shuddhi is the prerequisite for liberation. That makes you eligible for liberation. And On the other hand, if you are already an enlightened man, you do it for Loka Sangrahartham. Loka Sangraha. Loka Sangraha also is a word which we came across earlier. Loka Sangraha means for the welfare of humanity. For the welfare of humanity, to ensure that all the people, the society is intact, you are setting a good example before the people. So for that, you do karma. So we'll continue tomorrow. Harihi Om Tat Sat.